All right. Here we go. Morning. See what time it is? 5:59. I actually got here pretty early. Hey guys. This is Mr. Zebarth coming to you from room 234. Mash that subscribe button. You're gonna have a sub today, as you can tell. And I hope that you treat that sub with respect by doing the assignment today. So, thank you very much in advance. Let me turn this off. Seniors, here we are. There's 2 weeks left. How are you going to spend them? I know how I'm going to spend them. And I hope that you appreciate all the vast resources I provided you. And please take advantage of them in the last 2 weeks of school. So, yeah, let's get going. This is the logo board. This is in Adobe Illustrator. So I had a couple of people ask me yesterday, Mr. Zebrath, what app is this in again? It's Adobe Illustrator. So you can get that in the Windows menu. And find it under the Adobe apps. I went to Starbucks this morning. I asked for banana bread. The app told me okay, but the person at the... I won't eat that now. Sorry. The person working at Starbucks told me they didn't have banana bread and that I can choose anything I wanted. And I got an almond croissant. I developed quite a Starbucks habit since becoming a teacher. Really. Well, I'm going to start. We're going to make a crest today. So I'm going to zoom in here. Here we are, 6:01. So I'm going to write my time codes down here. 6:01. I'm actually going to start the lesson. Okay. A lot of you have already made the crest, so I'm going to kind of start over. This is going to be a long, rambling lesson, but I am going to provide time codes for you. So I hope that you look down below and see the time codes and click on them. You might have to click on the comments thing. Either way, I invite you to do that. So, you know, I've kind of slowly built up this project for you, and you have slowly created something awesome. And so far, I'm pretty happy with what I've done. I have not done this before. We haven't done this lesson before, so I haven't used this app much professionally in my prior life or in this present and future career called teaching. So we're going to put a little time code down at 6:02-ish. This is where we start building a crest from start to finish. So let's go. You could see I'm starting with a rectangle. How do you get a rectangle, you ask? I look at the TV a lot, so sometimes you're going to see me look like this way, but then I'm going to realize, oh, there's the camera, and it's blue, and it's right there. You also notice I have like a typewriter back there. So this is like a complete YouTube video. It's like one of those overhead shots where people put like their coffee cup in the corner. So I'm not sure how this lines up, you know, but I'll put this there. And maybe this 3D print that we made earlier this year, you know? Okay, let's continue. Actually, it's not 6:02. It's 6:03 we're going to make the crest. So we're going to begin with a rectangle. And before we even start, I'm going to go to the window menu and choose workspace and then reset essentials. So we're all working from the same layout here. To make a rectangle, I'm going to use the rectangle tool. That's the M key on your keyboard. M as in Michelangelo. And I'm going to make a kind of a roughly squarish, mostly squarish. They're square, I think. This is a little taller than a square. It doesn't really matter. We can change it later. It's okay. We haven't made any permanent decisions yet. We've just made a square. So don't be scared. The next thing we're going to do is create a point at the bottom, the very middle of this. You notice I have all these little purple lines popping up? Those are called Smart Guides. I'm going under the View menu. It's Control U to activate Smart Guides. You'll need that. I'm going to hit cancel here. So I'm going to add a point here. It looks like there's a point like in this middle part here, but there really isn't. This is a control if you want to make this taller. To make a point, I'm going to hit the plus button on my keyboard. There's plus. And I'm going to line up on the bottom here. And look, when I get to the middle, it says intersect. Let me zoom in to the shape. Control plus to zoom in. So here I am. If you can't add anything, likely it's because you're too zoomed out. So please zoom into your shape. Sorry, it's very early. Let me drink some water here. This is like one of those unedited videos. But I'm actually doing something advanced here by keeping track of the time code. This is a new strategy for me. I'm learning as I go too. Okay, so I've created a point here. I'm going to now switch to the white arrow. Click. That's the A key. So the white arrow lets you hover over a point and move it. So I'm going to click and drag on that anchor point I just made and move it down. And notice it snaps in the middle. You can force it to snap in the middle by holding down Shift. It'll let me do it at 45-degree increments, I think. So I'll drag it down there. Problems you might encounter in this. Sometimes what I've noticed, students, I'm going to go forward one step. They say, oh, okay, yeah, you want me to add a point? I'll add a point. Z-bar, let me show you something. I'm going to hit the plus button and the plus key on your keyboard. And I'm going to try and add a point here. Click. It gives me an error. I don't even want to read this. I'm going to click OK. The reason is we already made one. So make sure you haven't already made the point. There's a difference between these white squares and this blue square. Both labeled anchor points. So thanks, Adobe. Let's go white arrow. I'm going to click and drag down. Boom. So this gives us at 606 basic shape. Okay. What are some other options that we have here? Look, there is this little circular thing that lets me round the point. Remember that? I'm going to actually avoid doing that right now. Let's do that later. Okay, I'm going to zoom out. Now, make like 2 or 3, and there's no minimum, and really, you could do 1 if you want. I can't stop you, and it's like too late in the year to stop anybody from doing anything right now. You guys are your own people at this point, especially if you're a senior. Whew. Let's zoom in. Make a couple copies of this. So I'm going to hold on the Alt key and click and drag. So I'm just using the same document I've been using this whole time. Make sure you're always going File and Save. Control S. Okay, I've got 3 options now. This is going kind of slow, isn't it? I have 3 options here now. Let's make a couple different versions by simply going up into the Effect menu and choosing Warp. So look, I've used the black arrow to select the entire shape. I'm going to use the Effect, Warp, and I'm going to choose Squeeze for the first one. Nice. Looks kind of cool, kind of weird. That is even better though. It's kind of modern. A modern twist on an old classic, you might say. Like a keyboard sitting in the back of this modern classroom. Typewriter. Sorry, I blew that joke. Let's go to the second shape. Effect, Warp. Okay, last one was Squeeze. I'll try Inflate this time. So inflate, like literally puffs it up. Okay. Next, let's go to the third option. Which one do you like so far? I think the first one for me. Effect, Warp, and I'm going to choose Bulge. Bulge does something different. Oh yeah, Bulge gives you kind of like this, if you were a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout previously, any kind of scout really, anything where you were asked to wear a uniform to all the meetings, you know, or a forest ranger, kind of looks like this. So if you're like into the woods, I would say choose this. If maybe your family comes from a long line of police officers, choose one that looks more like a badge, etc., etc. Notice, though, I have these outlines that are mismatchy from the shape itself. We need to fix that. So I'm going to choose my, today I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to choose this shape, go under Object, and Expand Appearance. Expand Appearance. Okay, awesome. I'm going to do a recording check here, make sure we're still going. No, it's working. It wasn't working earlier, so I'm a little worried. Next thing we're going to do is, it's kind of tall. I'm trying to divide this into 4 semi-equal quadrants, visually at least. So I'm going to use the black arrow to shrink this down. So don't forget about Object and Expand Appearance. Awesome. I like that. That's actually a great shape. Here is where you can come in here and use the white arrow to round the corners. Now I did something strategically that I didn't say, so I should probably say it. When you use the black arrow, it selects the whole thing. It selects all the points. I don't see those round corner gooey things until I click on the white arrow. All right. But Zbarth, what if I only want to affect one thing? Glad you asked. Click on one anchor. Look, you could just do one. Click on another anchor. I could do another. It's not symmetrical. How do I fix that? Let's go back. And I'm going to select. Look, I keep getting this thing popping up. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Control Y. Excuse me. Sorry. Wow, this is a distraction. I'm sorry. Big distraction. There we go. Control Y. Control Y lets you see all your lines. Okay, sorry. Use the white arrow tool to click and drag to select 2 points and then round those points. Then come to another point and do a different kind of rounding. This is kind of a fun effect. It looks different. There's some variety in these points here. 611. Whoa, that took 5 minutes. We're going to do the crisscross applesauce right now. And what I mean by that is, I'm going to zoom out. Sorry for the glitch. We're going to split this up into shapes. First, by adding a couple boxes, and then using those boxes to punch out. So, I made a video about this already, but I'm going to do it right now. In case anybody missed it, would like to see it all over again. If any of you seniors are coming back from, your vacation, your senior vacation, it's over now, kids. I'm sorry, my fellow students. I'm learning with you. Okay. Excuse me. Need a break here. Go for too long, probably. It's actually more like 6:12. I'm trying to finish before the sub gets here. We need to make the rectangles. So let's make a rectangle. I currently have a black stroke and no fill. I don't want that. I want to swap those two things. You can do that by clicking on the arrows, and it will give me a black fill with no stroke. Now, what if you started with something different? Like, this is the default colors. What if you started with white fill, black stroke? You need to get rid of the fill and change this. You know what I mean. You can always double click on these colors. And look, I can't get to the delete thing from here, but you can say, like, I can choose stroke and get rid of it. None. You can click on this white swatch and change it to black by choosing black somewhere from one of the many color pickers. I hope you can find it on your own by now. Okay, I'm going to use rectangle tool here. M for rectangle tool. Sorry, that was not the right tool here. That's the artboard tool. Rectangle tool. The M key. Click and drag. We started with this tool from the beginning. Look, my smart guides are popping up, and I'm going to use those guides to kind of see where the halfway point is. That's the halfway point. This is actually lining up with that other shape. But look, this is this shape. Boom. Done. Edit. Okay, I'm going to start over. I said all that wrong. Let's begin. To do the crisscross, we're going to go to the rectangle tool. I have a black fill here, no stroke. So you can click on these to change them. You can get rid of the fill or stroke by clicking on the slash here. Make a rectangle. It's the M key. And make sure it lines up in the center of the shape you're working on, not a shape that's above it. A shape that's above it. Yikes. It's too early. 6:15. Now I'm going to take this shape, copy it, Control C. Now, I don't want you to do this yet, but watch what happens. If I do Control V, it like moves it. I don't want it to move it. Don't do that. I don't want you to do that. So that was Control C. Now I'm going to do Control F. What that does is it pastes it right on top of where I copied it from. Why did I do that? Well, I'm just going to use that point. I actually really like this corner. I don't want to change this corner. So I'm going to go to the black arrow and peel this corner back. Peel it back. There we go. So I took that top copy. Changed the location of it by kind of inverting it. Okay, next step. Click on your stroke. We are going to make a Control C, Control F for this. Control C, Control F. So there's now a second copy. Just a stroke on top of that last copy. That's our outline. Flip, invert these. I'm going to click on these arrows. I know this is getting kind of complicated. Okay, so now we have all the shapes necessary to do our little like stamp out thing. So we're going to select a few things here. First being rectangle 1. Hold down the shift key. Rectangle 2 I clicked on. And now just click inside here of the fill. Holding the shift key. So I have not the stroke though, that's in the very bottom, but the fill and the 2 corners. Here's the Pathfinder. It's under the properties window. I'm going to use the second option here, which is click to minus. No, it's the third. I forget. It's the second. I got really scared there that it wasn't going to work. So if you do one of those things wrong, it won't work. You might have to go back and try again. But honestly, it's almost easier to like just take one of these shapes and do that again without going crazy with the Control C and Control F. It's really easy to make too many copies because you can't see it because it's right on top. Okay. Man, we've been going for 20 minutes here. Awesome. Let's zoom out. What do I want to see for this assignment? Well, I want to know what you got so far. I'm going to group this shape together because right now if I move things, it moves. Yep. So let's select the stroke and the 2 boxes here. And do Control G. That will group them. Now, you should have at least one icon. Let me take my icon that I'm going to use here. Verbs. I don't have a good video game cabinet. I think it's in my other document. You know what? The Chihuahua is actually a great example. First of all, it's a great example of one that I don't really like, but it has this really heavy stroke on it that I'm going to use it. That's my example. So I'm going to move that over here. So let's start laying this out, right? Like, I'm going to just drop this Chihuahua like into the gray part here, the blank part. And ZBarth, I want to put it behind some white stuff. Like, how do I get it behind a white background? That's the artboard tool I used earlier. Artboard tool. Click and drag. I'm going to zoom in. The artboard just stays in the background. Let's now shrink this Chihuahua down. When I shrink it down, I'm going to hold down Shift. Okay, it looks pretty good. I can actually hold the space bar too. This is a neat trick to see how it fits in here. Oh no, I can't actually. Never mind. So something like that. Okay, look. Look, if I click away. Look at that. What happened? Before you do this, before you shrink it down, you're gonna expand the appearance. You don't want the stroke to stay the same width. Thank you. I was at the art show last night pretty late, so. Object, expand. I'm sorry, we're gonna cancel that. I think you have to group it first. No. That was wrong. So here's another way to do it. There's always like 10 ways of doing things here. I'm going to click and drag down. Let's line it up. Probably should have grouped it. And now I'll just look over here at my stroke and turn the stroke down. So right now there's no stroke applied because there's probably different strokes that I used. But now, just use something that works. Go to like 2 points. I haven't really taught you much about the size of these things. But look, boom! Kitty. Oh no, it was a chihuahua, that's right. So yeah, I've mistaken some of your stuff too, so, I feel you there. Another option. Look, another spirit animal, just because it's an easy example for me right now, this early in the morning. I want this to go in the black part, but I only have a black stroke here for the shark fin. So what do? Well, you play around with the colors maybe. Start thinking about colors now. Start thinking about using like a white stroke and a black fill. That's actually the default colors in not Cinema 4D, but Adobe Illustrator here. So I'm going to zoom in. Let's see. The order matters here now. Look, it's behind these black shapes. I'm going to right click, choose Arrange, and then bring to front. I got to close this out because I'm running out of time. Just kind of change the stroke on the fly. Well, wait, no, Z-Barth, what's the point of having... No, that's not right. Okay. Yep, let's turn this over here. Let's swap these colors. So look, that is more graphic. That's like really cool. But probably gray would be more appropriate for a shark. Always with gray, like good pale colors look really cool. So pink is always a nice pale color. Pink, that's more pink. Ooh, good. Click OK. I don't know. Sharks come from the ocean though. Maybe a Sea King blue would be more appropriate in this situation. So I don't know. Show me what you got. Get the logos that you've made, the icons that you've made into the crest. Use the snipping tool to take a screenshot and turn it in. So I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry about all the stuttering, the yammering, the going on, the not being able to end the video, the confusion, the always learning new things. I'm sorry about all the... I've missed a lot lately, right? Like I've been out a lot, but it's part of my training. Like I need to learn. I need to hang out with my art teachers. I'm physically, geographically really far from them. So they're way over on the other side of the campus. Today I get to finally talk to them and swap stories and steal lesson plan ideas from each other and all that stuff. So thanks. I'll see you guys later.